What's going on, man?
How's it going, my man?
Go ahead, Will.
All right. I put it this morning when the news dropped. For me, it came across as Bruno is the first WWE legend, without a doubt. It all starts with him back in May '63, and I mean, with modern times, obviously, he's before all of our time, his heyday. But I mean, May '63, he wins the title, and he doesn't drop it to 1971 to Ivan Koloff. And he only drops it in '71 because he was tired and needed time off the road. So that really puts into perspective that he was the man. He was the man of New York, and there was no touching him. And something untouchable in this era, for sure.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really get sentimental like that. So, in the words of the great Ivan Drago, if he dies, he dies.
Oh.
I don't know what that means. How dare you, sir? Well, it depends on who you were because there's a lot of them phoned it in. A lot of them phoned it in. For example, The Miz was like, cut a video from wherever he was. The Bar cut a video from wherever they were.
I think it was pretty fun when right out of the gate Jeff Hardy shows up and wins the U.S. title from Jinder Mahal, who I was expecting to move. And I was thinking as soon as it happened, I was like, oh, they're probably going to have him take the U.S. title right back with him on the way to SmackDown the next night. And that's exactly what went down. They had him get the belt, take it right back over, and the U.S. title stays where it is. And Jeff Hardy goes over to SmackDown away from his brother and doesn't have to be Brother Nero. And Jinder gets to start cutting promos on Raw, where it's definitely more of a character-based show.
Well, I guess it was interesting that Reby Hardy came out on Twitter and said and answered a question saying that somebody said, "Do we need Jeff?" And she said no, and WWE seemed to agree with her.
Yeah, by the way, I had some sound issues. I didn't realize my mic was down. It's funny, you guys can hear me, but it's not projecting out. But hopefully most of that is fixed now. Yeah, that I thought that was weird too, but I also think, like Will said in the beginning, I thought it was a smart thing because the injury might have been a little inconvenient for the storyline for the broken or woken Matt Hardy thing. But like I called, I thought Jeff Hardy, upon coming back to WWE, was on target, and he also spoke about saying that he still had a singles run left in him. So why not, since this has been the year of making people the Grand Slam champ, why not make this the opportunity to put them on separate brands and go after the one title that he's never had? So they immediately do that, and I think this is a good look for Matt to continue his broken woken thing on Raw with Bray Wyatt, and Jeff is still part of Team Extreme doing his thing for right now. So I'm definitely cool with that. And on the contrary too, whenever they do decide to take it back down to Cameroon, you could just have him up here like he did the first time, and that's good enough.
They got Brother Nero in their back pocket whenever they need it down the road when Jeff Hardy needs a refresh.
Yeah. But yeah, Jinder coming to Raw is a big thing for me. Like him or hate him, I'm definitely happy that he's being put on the A show. I believe he should be within the top tier of some of the best heels on there. I mean, this guy still generates like maximum heat. I think Vince McMahon still has big plans for him as well. And talk about comeback story or redemption story, so to say. He was just a guy in 3MB, and he toned himself up and so on, and now look at him. He's a big deal.
Well, the problem that I have with Jinder Mahal, and I agree with everything you're saying, is just that I don't think Vince McMahon actually believes in him to the extent that you think. When Jinder wasn't working too well as champion, and his the surprise, the shock value kind of wore off, they pushed the panic button and he went like anti-American foreign heel almost immediately, and then that didn't work, and then they kind of didn't do anything after that. So putting him on Raw, kind of giving him not necessarily a repackage but a restart, realistically it doesn't do him any good, because this black hole known as Brock Lesnar is the champion. And if Jinder Mahal is a championship contender, it's not going to happen while Brock and Roman are the only two people worthy of the belt right now.
I think Brock has 6 months with WWE. That's to fulfill his suspension with the UFC stuff, and then Roman obviously carries the title for a while, but he has a feud with someone. I think Jinder is absolutely the person to go with here for the next 6 months of the year.
I mean, it could be, and that depends on what they do with Roman. I don't think he'll ever get the hardcore, not even hardcore heel, but I don't think he'll get the cocky heel CM Punk type of persona that people want. But I do think that it's possible, especially going into SummerSlam, that if whatever they do with Brock and Roman over the summer, which seems to be the feud of the summer, we can't forget about these people that they brought over, like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, like Jinder Mahal, And I think that they just are just waiting for the two big guys to get out of the way so that they can take their turn. And I don't think it should be that way, because like I would love to see what they do with Chad Gable on Raw. I would love to see what they do, not necessarily with Baron Corbin, but these are guys that were given pushes on SmackDown in a way that we can see, we know what they can do. Will they be given the ball to run with it is the question.
Just to complete the list of everyone who's moved over to Raw, we had the Riot Squad. So we had Sarah Logan, Liv Morgan, and Ruby Riott. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, as you said, Zack Ryder, Fandango, Tyler Breeze. So the Fashion Files is now on Raw. Natalya, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre. McIntyre obviously is coming up from NXT. Baron Corbin, you have the Ascension. Bobby Roode, Mojo, Mike Kanellis, and Chad Gable. So 19 people made it over to Raw. Were any other thoughts on Raw's moves?
On the Raw side, there was a pretty... See, Owens and Zayn were a pretty big move on that side. I found it interesting that they closed the show with Bobby Roode, because it doesn't... I'm not sure what they're doing with him. Now, I've heard a number of people kick around the idea that maybe they're going to go with... Maybe he'll turn heel pretty quickly now that he's over here, because this face run doesn't seem to be gaining much traction. And obviously they got the U.S. title out of the way now, so he's just kind of there. And there's only so much, I think, that they can do with that darn, he's a theme song and he's a robe. And you take away those two things, he needs something more now. I think the sizzle is wearing off, and he needed this refresh. And I'm just curious if that refresh is going to come in the form of maybe a little heel turn.
Well, I agree with you. And I think that the case with Bobby Roode is that his theme song and his robe are more over than he is. And that's one could argue that that's a good problem to have, but it is still the elephant of the room. Even if he does turn heel, like Asuka turned heel towards the end of her NXT run, no one cared. And that didn't necessarily help her standing. So what will they do with Bobby Roode? I don't know. I would like to see him, I would chase a major title. Not a mid-card title. I think he needs to be the champion.
Well, that got weird.
I think we lost one.
Yeah, we did. I'll see if we're going trying to get that fixed. I will say that I am intrigued about the Chad Gable move. They obviously seem to be high on him again. I thought his little singles run that he had before was intriguing. I hope this is not to repair him and Jason Jordan again. I'm not interested in that.
No. Yes. Do not do that.
Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. I mean, everybody has already talked about how symbolic that is to Diesel and Shawn Michaels. So, I mean, if it works, it works. But nonetheless, I thought that was an impressive debut that they had. So, Raw moves looks pretty interesting. And again, Raw took a lot of people who had nothing going on SmackDown and brought them over, and hopefully it gives them a new feel. They're in front of a new crowd. They're not they're not giving that mellow tone after 205 Live or after Superstars. They get directly the spotlight. So you get the Raw crowd and you go out there and perform. So, other than that, I don't think I had any disappointments. If anybody that should have went to Raw, I will say that I was disappointed that Sasha nor Bayley went over to SmackDown.
Yeah, that definitely caught me off guard too. I wasn't expecting that to happen the way it did. I figured most likely they were gonna either go over together and do their feud. But the way things went down Monday night with Emma getting interrupted by the Riot Squad, now I'm like, what are they going to have them team up and keep doing a program together against the Riot Squad? I mean, the way they brought in the Riot Squad really kind of threw the Bayley and Sasha situation for a curve with me. So I'm curious to see where they go with that, because it's like either they're feuding or they're not feuding. So it's like pick a direction.
So SmackDown did get Jeff Hardy, who is the United States champion. So that belt pretty much stayed on SmackDown. They got Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. I will say that they were not brought over as Absolution. So it looks to be some singles things going on with them. Samoa Joe is here. Probably the biggest surprise of all moves for me. Big Cass returns. Asuka stayed. I don't even know how that's even a surprise. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson are back. The club is back together. Guess we'll have some mischief with them and AJ Styles teaming up again. And the funny thing is they're all faces this time, so I guess that does work. The Bar is there. Cesaro and Sheamus. R-Truth is there, even though he's not aware he's there, but he is there. And The Miz was brought over as well. So, how did I forget? You was going to kill me if I name this. We did get Sanity being brought up from NXT, and they were tagged as Eric Young, Alexander Wolf, and Killian Dane.
Yes.
So Nikki Cross was not mentioned there. I'm wondering what's up with that. And you have Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega coming. So that's hot. I mean, we wanted that. That's hot. I'm definitely excited about that.
Yeah, and a lot of those people, like Almas and Zelina and Sanity, they just showed up in, vignette form. So we did not get a proper debut on the show for them yet. As you mentioned, I'm totally with you on Samoa Joe was the biggest surprise, especially with him being on the show the night before doing all that stuff with Roman Reigns. So that was by far the biggest surprise. In my mind, SmackDown, they got the good stuff. I mean, Jeff Hardy, The Miz, Samoa Joe. I mean, if you trade them off and you're just giving away Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin, Kevin Owens, I mean, I think they got the good side of the deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's all to argue here.
I mean,
again,
to be
besides
fair,
just the disappointment in some of the women talent from Raw coming over, SmackDown definitely got the better deal here for me. And when I say the better deal, I'm not going to say strictly just over talent, but just over the pieces of the puzzle for future storylines and intrigue as well, as far as what happens moving forward.
I'm going to play devil's advocate and say that we don't know.
Had nothing going on, and now you got to try to make something with them. Hopefully, like I said, the crowd buys into them pretty much easier. But these other people that's moved over to SmackDown pretty much can get the crowd over the crowd easily, and should not have any setbacks dealing with the SmackDown or 205 Live people. So, but yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah, just Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, and Asuka, only women that came over. So that leaves them with Becky Lynch, who.
They could not throw Becky a bone.
No.
That girl could not get a transfer over to Raw. It kills me because now it really feels like that she's like condemned for the next year to just being like Charlotte's sidekick who like you beat Becky en route to get in your match with Charlotte. And that's the other weird one that Charlotte stayed. We had the whole idea that, they'd be building a Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. I guess they could come up with another way of getting to that involving, the Royal Rumble or something, if that's the idea of how they're eventually going to get to WrestleMania next year. But They're keeping them apart. They got them on separate brands, instead moved over your buddy Natalia that you call. they moved over Miss Kitty over there to be Ronda Rousey's best friend for the moment. I guess they're probably going to do something where that'll probably lead to a program, since that's, I guess, her sparring buddy that she trains with. So it would probably lead to solid matches, at least for Ronda, as she's starting out.
Yeah, it keeps Ronda away from Asuka. It keeps Ronda away from Charlotte, who are on the upper echelon of the women talent in WWE. So I think it makes sense. I mean, when it's time for Ronda and Charlotte to tangle, like I said, we'll get some friction around the Survivor Series time, and then maybe something around the Rumble, and then ultimately we end up getting WrestleMania 35 with them. near, or at least, or maybe even headlining that next year. So I think it's fine how they did that. But I mean, again, I'm just looking at SmackDown and their faces: Charlotte, Asuka, Naomi, Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella.
part timer Nikki Bella, if she's officially there or not.
Yeah. And then you have Carmella, the Iconic. Dude, I didn't even name that they came over. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they came last week.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, well, yeah. So I guess that really does count. But yeah, they got the Iconics. Then they got Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Zelina Vega, Lana, Tamina.
It's an odd mix.
I don't know. I can say for right now, I think Carmella's going to hold the championship for a little while. Yeah. Until something makes sense. I'm not sure who steps up. Maybe I don't know. Nikki Bella. I don't know. But yeah, you look at the Raw and SmackDown. It's a whole different field over there. Like it's. I'm gonna say this. I am surprised that Dana Brooke didn't get moved either.
Well, I think they like the role she's doing with Titus Worldwide. So maybe if they moved them all as like a full set, maybe. But I think that's done good for her, being in that role. So she's not just working matches, and it's giving her an opportunity to showcase some personality.
But move to do what though?
She has to showcase something because she hasn't been doing anything.
Right.
She's begging, like she literally is asking for chances, and they're just. I mean. She didn't get the Elimination Chamber. She barely got the Rumble. She was in it for like a hot second. I don't know. I think that her being moved over probably would have gave her a refresh, and that probably could have worked. So, anything else on the shake-up right now?
I think we hit all the big main things. I mean, yeah, I think the overarching theme for me was I'm really excited about the future of SmackDown for the next couple months. I mean, especially we were already excited. I was already excited with Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan being back.
Yeah.
But now it's like he's got even more matches available to him now that they moved over. I mean, imagine a show with Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Nakamura, Samoa Joe. I mean, all of them like hovering around the top of the card. That's a main event scene that you could do. That could take you all the way through the summer.
Yeah. Hopefully people are really not so worried about Daniel Bryan being back now. And now that these other pieces of the puzzle is around, people are more intrigued about the matches he can have instead of the potential of him being re-injured, I will say off the record or whatever. Shelton Benjamin on the singles run. I'm very intrigued here with that. I've always been a fan, and I think that the tag team thing was probably to help Gable a little bit. Probably, who knows? Probably on some, backstage or traveling, whatever it could be, to polish him a little bit. But Shelton Benjamin is definitely one of the most athletic wrestlers of all time. Like he can do it all, and the fact that him and Jeff Hardy got a match together. I mean, the feels there. It was so nostalgic. And considering that those two in the same brand, and we may potentially get a Money in the Bank ladder match with them two again, I mean that could be fun.
Shelton's definitely a guy that you can plug in anywhere, whether it's in a singles role or in a tag team role. I mean, I can't think of things you can't do with him. Yeah. He's definitely a great utility guy. So yeah, and that mid-card scene with the US title there, that can be really darn loaded too. With between him, Jeff Hardy. Let's see who else we got in that mix there. Those as far as the SmackDown mid-card level. Of course, they moved over R-Truth. Don't forget R-Truth. And then now of course Andrade. Now Cien Almas is coming. Does he start out like in that kind of mix right there? And of course, Rusev's been in there. So there's SmackDown's got depth. They really got a lot of depth on that show.
Yeah, I definitely do think they have potential to become the most interesting show, as they did after the draft last year for a while. And then I don't know, ratings obviously said otherwise. But if they can keep this, if they can pick up the momentum with the moves that they made and actually start building some storylines, I mean, they might be the must watch on Tuesdays over than Mondays right now. What do you think they do with Braun Strowman that he didn't get moved? A lot of people saw that happening and it didn't.
I think they do have. I would think there's going to be a slow build here. I think my theory has been that Roman gets the belt now at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Brock goes away to serve as a drug suspension and start concentrating on training and stuff. I don't think Brock sticks around after he drops the belt. I think you start a slow build to Braun and Roman at SummerSlam. I think my feeling all along has been that Braun's best road to the world title comes through beating Roman Reigns. That I figure is the best scenario for him to get a really hot win with a lot of emotion where the crowd will be behind him. And if you're going to put the title on Braun, you do it by having him go over Roman.
So the whole thing of the Greatest Royal Rumble is all because of getting the right reaction
for one night. For one night.
So it took all of the money in the world and all the oil money in the world for Vince McMahon to finally figure out how to book this match. In a nutshell. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue there. I think in the meantime, I think that do we have much of the information about what's happening on Backlash?
Well, they're supposed to. Samoa Joe was saying he's gonna take on Roman if he wins the belt. That's what they were teasing, right?
And I'm guessing that Jinder Mahal gets his rematch with Matt Hardy. Is that what's happening, or is that happening at the Greatest Royal Rumble? Actually,
the Backlash, because they were acting like Jeff was still in play for that to be a.
No, they do have Jeff Hardy and Jinder Mahal for the Greatest Royal Rumble. So that's next week.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that's going to go. All right, before we get to that, let's talk about let's clearly talk about what had the internet going absolutely nuts this week. Oh man, I can't wait. So Nikki Bella and John Cena breaks up and everybody is heartbreaking. I mean, we got people saying if they can't make it, love isn't real. I mean, everybody's ready to sell their house and move from the country just because of this. First off now, Jamal, are you back?
I think I hear him.
He's working on it. All right, let's talk about this now. The fact that they broke up and this has become such a enormous headline everywhere. And I mean, I maybe only see one tabloid reporting anything John has said. But every other time I look online, there's a different quote from Nikki Bella about her saying that she was extremely heartbroken. Sources near them have said that she's not handling it good. Obviously, that's a reach. I mean, come on now. If you know anything about John Cena from watching any of their shows, you can tell he keeps a really tight knit. So you think somebody's floating around, eavesdropping on like the friction between them? Like that doesn't even make sense. Obviously, Nikki said that she once thought that she was pregnant by John Cena's baby. It's just so much stuff is all of a sudden coming out. But let there be no mistake that amongst these headlines that E has been the source of a lot of these. So if I put one and two together, E reporting the news, E is also stirring up the drama. Total Diva returns in 2 weeks, I believe it is.
It's coming up.
It's definitely season 3 of Total Bellas is returning. I was at Access on the Sunday show, and the Bellas came out and they was talking to Mike Rowe, and they talked about how the Bellas had a good 2017 as far as with Brie with the baby, Nikki with the engagement. So this was 2 weeks ago now, or 2 weeks ago to the news. And she's like, yeah, she's engaged, show her ring, she's happy. And then they talked about, so what can we expect for season 3 of Total Bellas? And she was just like, well, it's going to basically be about how being brought into the relationship, seeing their hard times that they go through and how they get through it and stuff like that. And just about how difficult wedding planning is and all that other good stuff. So, that was the first seed planted about the interest into it, because a lot of people, if you look at any of the other Kardashian shows and stuff like that, they do good ratings because people like love stories, the wedding shopping, planning, all that other stuff, blah, 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 blah. But then you add some controversy into it, and then America's sold. I mean, America loves drama and controversy. It's just what we're built on right now. So let it be no mistake that 2 weeks before this show debuts, this comes out. And I mean, it's being reported everywhere. I'm not sure if I should say this is a work, but this is absolutely I can't wait to see the number of viewers that sees the episode 1 gets. It's going to be out of this world.
Well, that night when the story broke, I immediately said, everything in pro wrestling is a work. Now, I don't know if you go so far to work your own wedding getting called off just for publicity. I did find it interesting that they had kept it very secret and very quiet that apparently they were about to tie the knot on Cinco de Mayo. So we're less than a month out, and Mr. Hustle, Loyalty, and Respect kicked out at 2.9.
Jamal, are you with us? Are you hearing us?
Yeah, I hear you.
There we go. There's the man.
Making sure you're back.
No, I hear you. I'm taking it all in because we just proven that love isn't real anymore. So while you guys were going on about Cena and Nikki Bella, I pulled up an article from FoxSports.com Australia, and basically it goes over the 75-page contract that Nikki Bella had to sign to move in with John Cena. Now the contract reads, and I'm quoting
only
Fox
75
Sports.
Pages.
I think that was the second draft.
There was some renegotiation that had to go on.
Right. It says, and I quote, "Although I do not wish to be formal, I do not want there to be any misunderstanding regarding your presence at the home as my guest. In the event that I ask you to vacate the home, you agree to immediately vacate the home and remove any and all items you have brought into the home as soon as possible." Cena said on the Today Show at some time, quote, "I was very abrasive and stirred, and she had to sign this huge, crazy agreement just to come into the door." And Cena also said Bella signed the agreement, quote, "totally without question, and it made me feel super bad, which you should have, but it also made me realize, like, this is the one young woman that I would like to not get let out of my life because she says, quote, I'm with you because I love you, and here's proof that I like to be here." So, needless to say, that they said on the Instagram, quote, "After much contemplation and 6 years of being together, Nikki Bella and John Cena announced today that their decision to separate as a couple. While this was a difficult one, we will continue to have a great deal of love and respect for one another. We ask that you respect our privacy during this time in our lives." So here's the thing. Rusev and Lana made it. Savage and Elizabeth made it. Naomi and Jey Uso making it. Tyson Kidd and Natty making it.
Miz and Maurice.
Miz and Maurice.
Oh my God. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that.
And with a baby, no less. They're really putting the screws to Nikki.
So man. All of those whole things about John Cena talking about the Miz shooting blanks, well, their kid is a couple months old. All of those things talking about John. I really wanted Cena to stay on SmackDown. And I know that people were saying that Daniel Bryan has to get the Miz. They need to exercise that demon. That's going to be the greatest feud of the last year. No. The Miz and Cena, they have some work to do. And I'm not saying that, we may not even be able to see Cena because the Miz is going to bury his ass.
Yo, Big Cass and Carmella did not make it, but they're on the same.
I didn't say them for a reason.
But they're on the same show, so if they get back together, anyone can.
Well,
but look,
I mean, Mandy Rose and Enzo were on the same show.
No, not Mandy
Rose. Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan. Yeah. Oh,
yeah, they were on the same show. So, you can move on.
I don't know. I don't know who that Enzo person is.
Cass has been out doing rehab, so he's just back on the road now. So you never know. He might have shown up to cash in his Mella in the bank.
I seriously, she's the champion. You know she's loving it. Her feel goods is at an all-time high. You know he's going to have to bounce back one time. I mean, I would not be surprised if that's also on the next season of Total Divas.
I think Colin Cassidy may be suffering from insufficient funds right now, so the bank may be closed to him. You might have to overdraft that. I don't know.
Bree Hans came out like recently, as in like 30 minutes recently, from E, saying that she will always love John Cena like a brother. He'll always be family. My heart is hurting for he and my sister. There will be a redemption story here. They will have the ultimate love story of all time once they get back together, and this is all said and done. Hey, Will, when you got some time, in your spare time, dig up that one person who tweeted you and says that no one watches any of that stuff.
Oh, God.
Because they're gonna feel it in 2 weeks.
I think that account has been muted because there was way too much of that coming in my mentions from that one person, and I'm not gonna mention a name because they do not deserve any publicity. But that child has been muted because everything they talk about doesn't make any sense. They just looking for publicity, and I'm not gonna give it to them. You know how it works on the Twitter.
Yeah, you do, right? Yeah, right. Yeah, no, but nonetheless, I mean, look, it's a sensitive story, but it's public and it's put on Twitter, and it's a reality show, and that that invites other people to get involved or invest, their feelings into it. But I absolutely think that the timing about this seems very, very suspect. Beneficial. Yeah, suspect, and I hope for the happy end. I think we do get to see it. And
wait a minute. I think that, to be fair, we're not overlooking one major component of this. I don't blame John Cena. I mean, honestly, I don't. He's been married before. That obviously didn't work out, well, and that was before he became, what he is now.
Yeah.
So, I think he's put in the work and busted his ass to get where he is right now and the standing of the company. Part luck, part skill, but it is what it is. And we've seen, ask Hulk Hogan how a divorce works. Ask Russell Crowe how a divorce works. And, ask Tiger Woods how it works. And that is a hell of a paycheck that he had to cut. So I'm not saying that the 75-page document that she had to sign, that the fact that she would never be able to be an actual a resident of his home, she would just be a house guest, much like the cat or the mailman. But realistically, he's been burned before, and guys in the business, especially the upper echelon making the money, have been burned a lot. Hulk Hogan was a damn near forest fire. So I'm not saying that I blame him. And his stepfather would be Johnny Ace or John Laurinaitis.
Well,
I don't know if I would be ready to deal with that, because if you're John Cena and you're barely 40 and you're doing movies now and you won't be the next Rock, but you will be the next poor man's Rock, Mark Wahlberg with abs, and then you really want to throw all of that away, all of the John Cena-ness that you're really trying to get into as far as being actually famous. He's rich now, but he's damn sure going to be famous on a multi-platform level once he starts to really break out in the movies. And then you throw all that away for Nikki Bella. I'm not saying that she's not meritorious, but I don't blame him.
Well, it only took you 40 minutes to get sentimental, something you say you don't do, but there you have it. But look,
I'm not sentimental. I'm just saying that, like, because I can give a shit if he gets married or not. I don't care.
I will say this, that yes, guys have feelings, because that's exactly what you're pointing to. Yeah, you've been burnt before in the past, so you want to be extra conscious this time. So yeah, I mean, look, to call it off for May and secretly in May. I mean, who's to say that they don't secretly do it again soon, or whenever they do it? I mean, they're gonna have to let this storm pass, and they'll end up deciding what's best for the two of them. It's very mainstream right now, so that has to incredibly make him uncomfortable. But once this passing calms down a little bit, and Total Bella season 3 happens, and by the end of the conclusion of that season, they actually do get married. Yeah, and that will be a special. The marriage will be a special. Where have I heard that from? Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. So yeah, stay tuned for that network special. Could you imagine that being on E and the WWE Network streaming there?
Yes. Is this a match at WrestleMania? Is this the new version of Savage and Elizabeth at SummerSlam?
Honestly, the only way I watch that is if Eric Bischoff is secretly the Reverend.
Yes.
He pulls off the mask.
Yes.
Did I just hear myself say 3 minutes?
The best wrestling wedding ever, right there. Absolutely.
Yep.
Tremendous.
Oh God, that was way too much. That was way too much fun at that. I will say that Cinco de Mayo seems to be a curse of things that just never happens, because also being canceled on Cinco de Mayo is the Triple G Canelo fight, which has just been rescheduled because he's now Canelo's serving a 6-month suspension from steroids. So who knows? After 6 months, maybe we get that ultimate fight again. Maybe we get this wedding. Who all knows? But next Friday we do have the WWE Greatest Royal Rumble, which streams exclusively live on the WWE Network, 12 o'clock Eastern time, and I think the runtime is supposed to be till 3. So this is a full-blown pay-per-view, and I mean, this card seems to be with anyone available on the WWE roster. A lot of rematches from WrestleMania, and a 50-man Royal Rumble. So you have it all minus females, any female matches, which is because of, let me not misquote this, but because of religious reasons. Why?
No, because Saudi Arabia is a bag of dicks and they don't like women. I mean, like they've done this before. The WWE has run shows, and on the Ticketmaster receipt, it says no women allowed. And I don't know legally why that is, but they definitely have a in Iran it's called the Revolutionary Police or something like that. And Saudi Arabia has a similar deal where women's it's not equal. It's nowhere near equal.
Yeah, so. Apparently what I was hearing this morning, as far as the crowd goes, there's gonna be no women on the show. Apparently they're trying to market this there as like, they're trying to present the country as more progressive and stuff. And women are allowed at the show, but it can only be if they are accompanied by a man as a family. And
right.
Apparently they're going to position them in the seats that are going to be shown on camera. The interesting part, though, is if you're a man and you want to go to the show and get a ticket, you can, but you cannot get seats down there. You're going to be seated like way far away up in a whole separate section off camera. It's a total political event they got going on here, with like certain people can only sit in certain places, and it's WWE is getting. I'd love to know how much money they're getting to put up with this political minefield. That I'm kind of curious in the next week if the story is going to blow up more and get any kind of mainstream traction that they're doing this.
Well, okay, so the backing of this is part of Saudi Arabia's, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's Saudi Vision 2030, and it's basically a giant economic reform program that they have, and they do want to be presented to the West specifically as more progressive. Sure, that's how you do that, by putting cute couples together and not just having people have fun. But that aside, it is a thing, and WWE has a tryout that's going on this week, They've been over there trying to get people in Saudi Arabia. So don't be surprised if you see some special participants from the Middle East that will be a part of the greatest Royal Rumble of all time. Now the question is,
good point. Good point.
No, I mean that's actually the thing. WWE put that on the website that they're having tryouts there right
now. No, I mean good point about them maybe making appearances in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Right before you get to your point too, I want to say that. Do y'all feel like this is like a kick in the balls to Abu Dhabi, who basically they broke history with the Sasha versus Alexa Bliss match, which was like somewhere towards the end of last year. And just to border over, there's just like, nah, and we're going to put on a bigger show.
Well, that's part of what that means. It's part of their big like global marketing push for the country, because the Emirates, had the match with Bliss and Sasha, and even though they were dressed by our standards conservatively, wear like a full bodysuit and stuff like that instead of their normal ring wear. Mm-hmm. Saudi Arabia is definitely going all out to be friendly. And people don't realize this, but in the Middle East, rest of the WWE has a major footprint. They have WrestleMania parties at 4 a.m. At the mall, like Mall of the Emirates has like a WrestleMania live showing, and they sell out, and it's a real deal.
Yeah.
Now my thing is, and the problem that I have is, if they can have a live network special in Saudi Arabia, then why can't we get a pay-per-view in England? Now I don't live in England. I don't live in the United Kingdom at all, but logistically, the biggest problem about having pay-per-views outside of the country, except Canada, has been the time difference and stuff like that. It would be interesting to see if this Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, considering that they're 2 hours ahead of England, I believe, changes their output on having being a actual global company. Because
I'm sorry. I think it does. I think this is kind of the first step in that direction, and it's probably just a matter of, the price was right to get them to make the nudge in that direction and make a move. And then I think in time, I think it does happen. It might even happen later this year. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I guess the next question would be, because they're getting the big payday for this show, and I think it's in October. They're doing the big show in Australia. It is. So I'm wondering if the big show they're doing in Australia is going to get the same kind of treatment, since it's another big stadium size event.
Good point. As funny that you mentioned that they're getting a big payday here, so that's going to fund everything else for the rest of the year.
Well, I don't know necessarily if it's the big payday per se, because
it's absolutely a big payday. It is. I mean, you think about.
I don't think it's necessarily a cash transaction money thing, but if WWE has an opportunity to have a live footprint in an emerging market, that's a plus for WWE. If they have an opportunity to run a show and not have the logistical local cost, like televising it and stuff like that, the logistics of hiring those guys to do so, then that's a thing. But I mean, I'm not sure that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is cutting WWE a check to put on a show there. Wouldn't surprise me, because they got that oil money. But that would be.
No, that's exactly what it is. I mean, the emerging market is India. That's always been on target. That's always been part of the demographics that they wanted to venture in. China has been the other one. So for Saudi Arabia to all of a sudden, come out of the blue, this is a financial movement here. This is all of oil money being put together to put on the absolutely biggest show possible that they can. I mean, because when they're in Tokyo, then they put together subpar pieces and just put together a show. We know they can sell out the Tokyo Dome. That's absolutely, without a doubt, easy for them to do. So this, when they're getting Cena, who we haven't seen since WrestleMania. He's probably still doing marketing for his movie. You got Triple H coming, wiping the dust off again. Then you have The Undertaker. I mean, that says a lot about the demands there. And then not only just that you got a 50-man Royal Rumble, which means that absolutely almost everybody on that roster has to make that trip. So there's a lot to be said about the financial backing on this.
And I would say probably even more noteworthy than all of that, they somehow got Brock Lesnar to go on a plane and go all the way over there.
I forgot about that.
I mean, we know he won't do nothing unless there's a good number of zeros tacked on the end of that check. So what kind of money are they sending at Brock to go over there and drop the title?
Now let's
guessing.
Now let's ask this. Now, how long does that match go?
That could have been part of his renegotiation contract.
That's very true.
Without a doubt. That's a hell of a point right there. How long do you think this match goes? Brock is a 5-minute type of match guy when it's house.
Yeah, I was going to say 5 minutes.
10 maybe. Tops.
He does 15. This is absolutely, absolutely a financial movement here.
I mean, my guessing is they got an easy crowd they're going to be working in front of. That's probably going to be, it's going to be an easy house show type of crowd that's going to pop for real easy stuff, since they're just going to be happy to have a live show going on. So, probably, I can't see it going more than 10 minutes. I see it be unless they really surprise us and they just have like a total like squash go down in the cage and just really try it. I mean, who knows? This show's it's a wild card as far as how they're going to handle it.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. But anyway, just to talk about the card just a little bit, you have Rusev, who is back on against The Undertaker in the casket match. We can talk about that in 1 second. John Cena versus Triple H singles match. You have Cedric Alexander defending the Cruiserweight Championship against to be determined. The Bludgeon Brothers versus the Usos for the SmackDown Championship. That makes sense because they're on the same brand still. But you have Bray Wyatt and the Hardys versus Cesaro and Sheamus for the vacant Raw Tag Team Championships. Now, I don't know. I may not be the smartest person here, but I think we already know who wins this one. We have Jinder Mahal versus Jeff Hardy for the United States Championship. I think we absolutely know who wins that.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy.
Yeah. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. That could be interesting, booking wise. Then we have a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship, which is a Raw. I think we can consider that a Raw title right now, with the champion Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor versus The Miz versus Samoa Joe. So 2 SmackDowns versus 2 Raw people. So Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. We can see how that goes. And then we have Brock Lesnar, the champion, versus Roman Reigns in the steel cage match for the Universal Championship, concluding the show off with a 50-man Royal Rumble match.
That we don't know anything that's on the line for.
Yeah, that and nor do they. And we're a week out, and they have no clue. First off, Rusev being put back into this Undertaker match, and he was taken off. Then Chris Jericho replaced him. Then he was put back on. First of all, again, how the heck did they pull the Chris Jericho move here of all people to replace that? I mean, they could have did anyone right here, but I don't know. I mean, I guess money talks, right? That's the theme of things right now.
Indeed.
Now, I guess it's a matter of if Jericho's still going to go on the plane and be in the Rumble. I mean, it seems like this show is very much an all-hands-on-deck deal, and they're trying to bring over anybody they can to have some razzle-dazzle for the Saudis.
Yeah.
That oil money. So I think that's the big is if Jericho's still going or not. I mean, I'd heard rumors that it might have been something to do with Rusev's paperwork to be able to travel over there, and maybe they got that sorted out. But I mean, like I said, that's just a rumor. I have no idea, but I guess we're back to Rusev Day is going to get buried in the desert over there, unfortunately, and hopefully that doesn't spell out what his immediate future is going to be once this is all said and done.
There's no way Rusev beats the Undertaker.
In a casket match, unless Taker's coming back full time and it's going to be like working a program with him for the summer. I can't see it.
I can't see that either, but by no means. I mean, it's a house show, so the booking here should be pretty much seamless. I mean, looking down the card, there's only 2 matches that's kind of intriguing. 2.5, I guess, the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar thing, but that's still even kind of determined a little bit too. But yeah, we don't even know what this is for. We do have speculation of who's going to be in it, sort of say. But that's still 50 people. I don't count 50 people on the roster, so I do think that to Jamal's point earlier that some of the tryout people should make it on there. There's been rumors of Rey Mysterio also being able to compete in it as well too. So I don't know. We'll see. But then again, like, what is it all for? What is this all for? Are they ever going to announce that? Is the format still going to be the same with 50 people in this? A 30-person one goes about an hour. So 50 people is almost double. So is this one match going to go almost 2 hours?
They're going to send some tag teams out together. They're going to have some 30-second intervals thrown in there. at this rate, I'm fully expecting the winner to get a $9.99 gift card for the award-winning WWE Network.
I don't know, man. They might get one of those Saudi showers with money. I mean, we've seen that plenty of times. So who knows? But nonetheless, it's going to be midday. A lot of people on the East Coast everybody's going to be at work. Yeah,
I will be.
Well, America's going to be at work because that's 9 a.m. start in California.
Yeah, can't see many people taking off to watch it, but it's on the network. So I guess that makes sense. It's interesting. I guess money talks again. It's interesting that they put this on the network when there's been plenty of other opportunity of things that should have been on the network as well that they didn't. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm looking at the seating chart right now for the Greatest Royal Rumble, and it is interesting that they do have tickets available for as pretty cheap, but they have a singles and a family section. So if you were to sit on the camera side, then that would be the family section.
There you go.
Single sections would be on the side facing the stage, where we sat in Philadelphia, basically. So they want on the hard cam side to be families. The gold section is opposite on the same side as the hard cam, and the VIP section is everything floor seats, but not ringside, because I'm thinking they're going to be the ringside folks are probably going to be dignitaries, somebody from the royal family and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but it's very interesting the way that they've done this. But you cannot buy ringside tickets even if you wanted to on this WWE.SA webpage. So interesting.
Y'all think any of those regular dudes that always go to every show, you think any of them make an appearance here?
I swear to God, if I see that guy with the Mets jersey on, I'm going to throw something at my TV. Or if Izzy makes it to Saudi Arabia, I don't know how she's going to be let in the country. If she makes it to the show.
Now, does the guy with the long hair and his mom, can they get into the family section? That's my question.
Oh, they might have to.
Yo, I'm trying to tell you, if I'm just going to say, like, if I see them seriously, good for them, man. You guys.
But you know who I do hope make it? I hope Coach Gator makes it. I really hope Coach Gator makes it, and you know what? Maybe he decides to stay.
Oh. He might find his newest protege over there. You never know.
He's not discounting talent. You know that. Yeah,
of course he is. Of course all the Saudi talent, because that tracksuit that he's going to be wearing at 114-degree heat in Saudi Arabia.
Any other remarks on the Greatest Royal Rumble?
Will it actually be the Greatest Royal Rumble? And if it is, then what does that do for the show in January?
Oh, we're back to our American ways, where that's our greatest. So we're being let into a spectacle of what it's like to live out there. So this is going to be a movie for us. This might as well be a Fast and the Furious 9 for all we know it. So
well, let me ask you this: is it worth putting on these type of events? Like, let's take the money out of it. Let's take the notoriety out of it.
Yeah, because of the reason you said earlier.
Type of events with no storyline implications.
Yeah, because of the reason you said earlier.
That's why I said take that out of it. That'd be like, because basically it is a really good house show, that's going to be on the network. But there's no real legitimate storyline implications that are going to progress anything. In America, if you miss it, you miss it, and if you don't, then you don't. You can always watch it later on the network after work. But realistically, WWE is supposed to be a worldwide company. They are in a lot of regards. I want them to have events around the world that are televised live. I would love to see Raw in Singapore, But if they're not going to treat it as such, then what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, again, to your point earlier, I think this is definitely, you take the money outside of it. I think it's definitely monumental on numerous scales. I mean, you get a sample size, you get a sample dosage of the reception that it will get coming from the viewerships from people here, probably network buys, and just ultimately just the success of that country that's hosting the event for coming out. I mean, there's a lot of win here. And yeah, for them to continue this and doing specials down the line, I mean, it makes the network more intriguing. And it gets all the other countries involved, and yeah, you become the worldwide global phenomenon that you want to be. So yeah, this is a great thing. So
yeah, no, I'm not saying it's not a great thing, but honestly, it's a house show. I think the fans deserve it.
If they end up changing the Universal title on it, then it's kind of more in a house show if they end up doing the change there. But outside of that, I mean, yeah, that might be the most only noteworthy thing on the show, assuming they do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, the storylines are held on Raw and SmackDown weekly. Every country may not have an opportunity to watch that show weekly and or when it's aired live. So, you know, if you're able to still put together something on the network that has intrigue and legitimately building or marketing it as like a boxing spectacle where the best people get together and whatever happens, then that's fine. You know, boxing does good in other countries for that reason. And, you know, if you take the storylines part out of it and you just put the best versus the best and put a belt on it, there's people that's gonna buy into that.
Okay. I'm looking at the FAQs real quick from the Saudi Arabia website, and it says, are men allowed to enter the family section with children? Because I guess it's presumed that in order for women to go, they need to bring the kids. So and then of course the family section is segregated from the singles section. It does not say on here in the frequently asked questions, if you are a woman specifically, can you buy a single ticket? But it is interesting that they do make that distinction in other aspects as far as like family goes and where men can sit and stuff like that. There seems to be, and I'm looking at the seating chart, 2/3 of the stadium is single, but the hard cam side are families. So I guarantee that this is, you know, obviously it's going to be a big propaganda piece for the country, but you will see a lot of cuts to the crowd that will be, especially hard cam side, will be women and children. And maybe families of 3, you know, husband, wife, and daughter. Because if Saudi Arabia doesn't do a damn thing, they love family. So that's interesting.
Any other remarks for this?
I think we covered it pretty much all we know at this point with a little over a week out from the show. Unless there's some big surprise in the next week, I think we know what we're in for. It's just a matter of what it's going to look like now.
Someone's getting a super sport car that there's only 3 of them made in the entire world in a trophy, and that's it. That's it.
Well, I'm really interested to see what happens with the tryout people. Obviously, you know, bringing in people from all over the world is kind of another point to this. So if anybody can actually do some work in the Royal Rumble itself, which would be just a good showcase, it's a cheap pop for the audience, and it's an interesting scouting, first draft for the talent backstage for the guys in the back.
They need a representative from the country as well. I mean, that's
right.
That's typical WWE.
Right, of course, and that's what they need. I obviously don't think that we're going to see a Santino Marella come out of this. But that's how that worked. So
yeah.
But it will be looking at the people that they have. They got some kickboxing guys. They got some MMA guys. They got some soccer players. They say football, but I don't know if they mean soccer.
Athletes.
So, but they got everybody's an athlete. But it'll be interesting to see if this dude, Michel Hijazi, he's 6'3", 240. And he's played volleyball and soccer and competed in bodybuilding. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. And considering how the WWE has their style, can they actually grow some talent out of here? And I hope so.
Interesting enough. You got any news for us before we get out of here?
Well, no, we kind of touched on most of the stuff because I want to talk about the Royal Rumble tryouts and the John Cena shenanigans. But April 20th is, of course, this weekend, and it will be the last show at the American Legion in Reseda, California for PWG. The building's being sold. God only knows what's going to happen to it, probably torn down. But the last match for PWG at that building will be All-Star Extravaganza Weekend. 2 shows. The big matches that I'm looking forward to seeing, hopefully, would be, of course, Keith Lee versus Adam Page. And then you have tag team champions Matt Riddle and Jeff Cobb versus the Young Bucks versus Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz. That's going to be nuts. Wow. On the 21st, you have Keith Lee versus Jonah Rock versus Walter. That's going to be nuts. Matt Riddle versus Thatcher. Taiji Ishimori versus Sammy Guevara. That's going to be nuts. So a good weekend in Reseda. And if you don't have tickets, then, well, you'll hear about it later.
Wait for the DVD.
Long gone. Right. And then, of course, NXT is coming here, so that'll be a good thing to see. It'll be interesting to see who will be here. If anybody that's been called up will fulfill their last NXT dates.
Will got you there. Done.
Yeah, we got the WWE sent out an email today because my number one concern last night was, okay, what the heck is up with Cien Almas? Is he going to be there or not? And they are claiming he will be. Supposedly, we will have a main event of a rematch from TakeOver of Andrade Cien Almas and Aleister Black. And then they're also advertising for NXT DC Women's Champion Shayna Baszler, Kairi Sane, the Pirate Princess will be in the house. No Way Jose. So he just got called up too. He's supposed to be there. EC3, Cassius Ono, Tommaso Ciampa, Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, Nikki Cross, Candice LeRae, and many more. So we got a pretty stacked lineup showing up tomorrow for NXT DC at the Anthem. And I think I heard there's a little something going on before that, isn't there?
That's right. Meet us at the Brighton 4 to 6. It's the official BGB meetup before NXT DC. Happy hour starts at 4 to 7. So plenty of specials and drinks. Meet us at the bar area. You'll see us. You'll see a bunch of Nova Pro fans and other people, and anyone who's got the invite. Definitely come out, have fun with us, talk some wrestling, meet some new people before we head into the arena. It's within walking distance. It's all over our Twitter. The event is officially on the Facebook page too to get all the information there as far as location and parking situation, whatever your means of getting down there. So you definitely stop through and kick it with us before you get in there. Again, that's starting off at 4 p.m. We'll probably stay there until about 6 because I believe the doors for NXT opens up at 6:30. So again, it's walking distance. So it is what it is. And when doors open up, I mean, bell time isn't until 7:30. I believe someone told me. So
that's what it says on the email. Yeah.
Yeah, plenty of time for you to get your food and drinks in before you get your head smacked at Anthem. Because although their food is good, you will be paying stadium prices within there. But it's a beautiful arena. I really can't wait. So, and what else do we got going on this week? Oh, Friday.
Old Dominion Rumble Friday night with Nova Pro.
That's right. Details on that.
Let's see, because that is, of course, at the JCC out in Fairfax. It's been a little bit since Nova's been out there. Yep. But they're going to we'll have the greatest Royal Rumble next week. We are going to have the greatest Old Dominion Rumble on Friday night with the first ever Rumble for Nova Pro with 30 entrants coming down for that. And there will be some mixing of the ladies and the men involved in that match, since we have seen some names like Daphne's been announced for it. And Aspen the Mermaid's been announced too, I think. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be a lot of big names in there. And I guess now the Old Dominion Rumble, the winner of that is going to get into the Commonwealth Cup coming up in June and also get to pick their first round opponent. So could be a lot of interesting things coming out of that, depending who wins the Rumble, because you could have like someone like decide they want an easy first round opponent and just kind of slide on through or something, or who knows? Yeah. I mean, it's going to be really interesting. And there's, I think, the rest of that card. Take a look here. What else do you remember being on the card, gentlemen?
We have we have two fatal four-way matches for for entrance for the Commonwealth Cup. We do have a couple of singles competitions going on there. We have let me pull this up right now.
We got Eric Royal and the Ugly Ducklings taking on the 1% in a 6-man tag. Logan Easton, LaRoe, Bobby Shields, and Gunnar Miller. That should be a heck of a match there.
No love lost there.
Yeah, that's for sure. Shazza McKenzie making her debut against another Nova Pro regular in Jordan Grace. Thick Mama Pump. Of course, my daughter, Little Hobo, would be thrilled that Pow Meow is back. Alley Cat and Christy Jane. They're going to take on the Hooligans, who were at the Firehouse back in February, 2 shows ago. Yeah. They were really good. I was really impressed with them. So that should be a real interesting matchup.
Yeah, we got so Aladon had to pull from the match from the card. So Laney Luck will be replacing her against the Bride of Frankenstein, Andrews Lane. That's always, and anything with Andrews Lane always becomes intriguing and could potentially burn the house down at any moment. What else we got?
2 Commonwealth Cup qualifiers, like you said, one for the Women's Commonwealth Cup with the returning Veda Scott and Jordan Blade, who we saw on the tryout shows last month.
She's here to stay now.
Yeah, she's fighting for a spot in the Commonwealth Cup. And Skylar and the debuting Face Brooke.
Yeah.
Which is quite the interesting name and gimmick there. Not quite sure what to think of that, but I guess we'll find out on Friday night. And then on the men's side, it's John Schuyler, Percy Davis, Wheeler Yuta, who we've seen before, and the Warhorse Jake Parnell in the other Commonwealth qualifier. And I'm sure there'll probably be some other action going on. But 30-person Rumble. I don't know, do you got a pick for the 30-person Rumble yet?
No. Josh Fuller. That's where I'm going with this one.
Oh, you really going out there. You really going out there thinking Josh going to go over on it.
That's right. That's right. But before that match happens, Jamal, where will we be at on that? Nope.
Well, before that match happens. Well, to be fair, I think that Josh Fuller has about a chance as winning the Commonwealth Cup and the Old Dominion Rumble as I do. So I think actually Ed Dow, we might see him in the Rumble. Tossing some dudes before Josh Fuller gets a chance. Just saying. One thing that Nova Pro tweeted that I thought was interesting that I didn't hear mentioned is that the winner of the Old Dominion Rumble not only picks, gets bragging rights for winning, but they get to pick their opponent in the Commonwealth Cup.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So that's could be interesting first round. Do you go hard and eliminate somebody that you has a chance of winning, or do you take it easy?
Sage Phillips winning and then calling out Logan. That could be very, 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 very interesting there. He's already in it, but for him to actually call out the winner of last year and actually going over dethroning last year's winner for the first round, that will be making a statement there.
Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities.
So
yeah, but my pick to win is Bo Crockett.
Oh, that's a possibility. Now, I'm looking at it now. Like, I'm assuming people like that have already qualified, or someone like Logan Easton LaRoe. I'm assuming they're probably going to be doing double duty and also in the Rumble. So if you're already qualified and you win, I would assume that then you get to change your matchup. So
you could.
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't put it past the 1% to make their first round incredibly easier. And lay down for them or something. I mean, there's a lot of ways this can go. So it's going to be an interesting night and feed right into this coming June with the Commonwealth Cup.
That's right. And as always, before any Nova Pro show, minus Nova Pro shows that have seminars beforehand or even shows that have double shows, because of timing issues, we will get you started giving you all the information as far as changes to the matches, merch deals, calling you out the directions for anyone who may be coming for the first time, keeping you updated on the quality of seats ready. We host the kickoff pre-show. So definitely stay tuned for that. I always get the timer wrong, but of course I'll be announcing it over and over. I think we start at 6:30, I believe. Depends on when doors open, to be honest.
Doors open at 7:30.
Okay, so maybe about 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock we go for an hour. The talent got to get together for the meeting and stuff, so we don't like to interject on that. But again, we get you right, giving you all the latest information as you make your way down into the Northern Virginia area, this time at the JCC with all the information for it. So we look forward to that. So a lot of work for us this week. So we got the NST meetup tomorrow. Well, that's not work. That's going to be fun. and then we kicking Friday off with Nova Pro. So a lot of fun things going on this week. And by all means, if anybody who's just looking for more wrestling this week, you do have the MCW show, which is going to be on Saturday, which is in Joplin, Maryland. Let me get that information for you really quick. Pull that up. Oh yes, it's their Tribute to the Legends show, which is going to have Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Shawn Michaels, and others you can meet. That will be April 21st at the MCW Arena. That is in Joplin, Maryland. Information is obviously on mcwprowrestling.com. You also can find information about it on our website as well, too. And again, you have the opportunity to meet people such as Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, just to name a few. So definitely step over to the website to get tickets for that. Yeah, but that's all we have tonight. Let's do some plugging. Will, just in case anybody has no clue who you are again and needs help finding you.
Yes, indeed. At Heel Will Mahoney on the Twitter and Instagram. Will Mahoney from the Snack Society will be down at Nova Pro, of course, with some sort of a item to review. We got quite a number of things on hand at the moment, so I'm not quite sure what we're gonna pull out of our snacking snack sack or whatever.
Snacking archives.
Exactly.
I don't know if I want to touch the snack sack.
I can guarantee you this: we will not have peeps this time.
A snack sack.
But yeah, you can check us out on YouTube. You can find any of the videos on Twitter by just doing a hashtag Snack Society all day, every day. Bran and Tony this week were at Smashburger to check out their $4 value French onion double burger. I heard that went over pretty darn well with them. And coming up tomorrow before the NXT show, over WrestleMania, we reviewed the wasabi Doritos. So we'll be covering those, and we'll have something at Nova Pro on Friday. We'll figure it out. But like I said, hashtag Snack Society at Heel Mahoney on the Twitter. And there you go. Wrestling and snacking. What's there not to like?
Well, since you guys got the infamous taste buds, we'll definitely be checking out that calamari tomorrow at the Brighton.
Yeah.
We have to see if that's going over for the stomach. So you got all the information there. And Jamal, I mean, obviously people know you. So go ahead and just plug. Let us know what you just recently reviewed, and yeah, we'll end the show on that note.
Yep. I saw what is this, 20th? Yeah. So I saw I Feel Pretty, the Amy Schumer movie. Definitely have some thoughts on that. Super Troopers 2 is out this weekend. I did not get a chance to see it, but I do hear good things. But yeah, if you want to see any reviews, anything we have going on, you can hit me up on the Twitter machine at Giant Crab with a K and extra B. Or biggoldbellgroup.com, and I post a lot of reviews there.
Sounds good. All right, well, definitely thank you, everybody, for tuning in for our special Wednesday episode. Again, we got a busy week coming up, so we had to move things up a little bit. And again, catch us tomorrow. Be there. If you can't be there tomorrow, then definitely catch us Friday. Be there. And if you can't be there either, then catch us next Thursday for our next show. Thanks for tuning in.